That's the good stuff. Welcome to episode 9 of Talking Music. Today we have with us another Lebanese talent, founder of death thrash metal band Damage Rite, formerly known as PostMortem, and also taking charge of guitars in Dubai-based band Svengali. We have with us today JM Elias. Hello, GM.
Hey man, how's it going?
All good. How you doing?
Yeah, not too bad. Not too bad. How are you?
Ready for the journey?
Let's do it.
Yep. I guess we're gonna talk for maybe a few hours, but we're gonna know a lot about PostMortem, what later became Damage Rite, about Svengali, about audio recording, about producing music. A lot of things today to talk about. Interesting stuff for all musicians, for all metalheads.
Hopefully.
Let's start. Yep, it will be. Let's start where everything started with you. Again, with the usual history. When was it the first time you heard a rock track that you enjoyed, a metal track that you enjoyed, and you started thinking, "Oh, I'm a metalhead"?
Oh boy. Okay. I think I was in eighth grade or seventh grade, something like that. And at the time, there was this huge hype about how heavy metal music would get you to commit suicide and is bad for you and all that stuff. And I was genuinely scared of it. Like I wouldn't listen to it because it scared me. And I remember a friend of mine, he passed away recently as well. He had a cassette of a band called Manowar. And he's like, dude, you should listen to this. I'm like, no, man, this music is bad for you. We're not supposed to do this. And he technically forced me into it. And I remember I heard that and I'm like, holy shit, man. What, like, this is different. And yeah, ever since it was just, you know how we did, I don't know if you did that, but back like, you know, exchanging all the cassettes and ripping off MP3s into your stereo and trying to find new songs and exchanging new songs with people and trying to figure out new bands and whatnot. And yeah, that's how it all started in terms of me listening to music. And I guess the rest is history. It was just like metaling and got heavier and heavier after that.
So you got into, I would say, maybe the thrash and then the death.
I was into heavy metal first, and then obviously after that discovered Maiden, Metallica, all that stuff. And I remember the first time I listened to Sepultura, I'm like, fuck this, man, that's noise. No, I can't. This is I don't understand this.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, I end up in a band that covers Sepultura. But yeah, so yeah, and it slowly progressed into thrash and death metal. I dabbled a bit with black metal, but it was not my thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like I like the overly produced black metal, but not like the old school stuff that most black metal fans like.
The recorded tape.
Yeah, like, you know, you're in the bathroom putting a tape and just recording that. That's not my thing.
Yeah. So you would admit, like, listening to death metal or those extreme metal is not that easily accessible, or could be shocking on the first listen, and then you could transition into liking it and ending up loving it, right?
I mean, it depends, really. It's like anything new you get exposed to, right? You get one of two reactions, I guess. You're either not interested, scared, or whatever it is, and you just move on, or that creates a question mark. Like you get a bit nosy about it and you want to understand it more.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And it's either or. So I understand it's not for everyone. So I wouldn't say that if I got somebody that listens to pop music and if I got them to listen to death metal, they would like it just because they got used to it. Mm-hmm. That's not necessarily what's gonna happen, but it would definitely be a question mark. Like it would definitely be like, why the fuck are you doing that? Like why would you scream into the microphone? And then you would want to understand. You either want to go in and understand why you're doing that, or you just, you know, move along and just not be interested in this music.
Okay, so you wouldn't like spend your time trying to say these people are crazy, they're out of their minds, they're Satanists, they're inhabited by some spirits.
Maybe, you never know.
Maybe, okay. So that got you into the music quite early. How did you transition to playing an instrument from there?
I was about 15-ish, and I remember I was visiting a friend of mine, and he had a friend over, who had a small amp and an electric guitar. And I remember walking in, and that guy was fucking shredding. Like, this guy was insane. His name was Eli, but I don't remember what his family name was. It was like ridiculous. And I saw this, I'm like, holy shit, I want to do that. Like, I wanna play guitar. I don't know how. I don't know how it's gonna happen. How am I gonna do it? But I knew I wanted to play guitar. And I remember I bought a used Starfire. And for anybody here who played guitar at some point, I'm pretty sure they're familiar with the Starfire brand. It was like a knockoff Chinese brand. And I bought a used one for like $80.
Yeah.
From a girl. And actually, it wasn't even worth like $40, but I didn't know. I just like grabbed the guitar and was like, I'm gonna learn how to do the guitar and do this whole guitar thing. And I went back to that guy's place, Eli, and I'm like, all right, I have the guitar. I don't know what to do. So he taught me how to read tabs. And non-musicians here, tabs are technically just a dumb way to show you how to play songs if you can't read notes. It literally just shows you numbers and where to put your fingers. So he just taught me how to read that. And I went back home and started trying to learn guitar. I think the first song I started, I wanted to learn, I couldn't learn it, but was Seek and Destroy. I'm like, this is a song that I wanna learn. And that's how it started.
So you kind of learned on your own, mostly with the tabs along the
For
way.
the most part, yeah, for the most part.
Okay, and did you like get to I learned to play guitar for a while also, but I got into that phase for maybe 4 months where I spent like 7 hours every day just learning new riffs, learning new solos, trying new things. You went through that, like a bit of an obsession phase with the instrument.
Yeah, 100%. There was a very, very a phase of confusion. Here's the thing. I never understood what power chords were, right? I never understood that you can actually, that it's logical for you to hold more than one string at a time. Mm-hmm. So when I used to look at a tab and I would see a power chord, right, on the 5th fret, which is like 5, 7, I'm like, how do you do that? Like, this is not logical to me.
Yeah.
And I remember the guitarist in whatever we had as a band before it was a band. We didn't understand what we were doing, so we ended up each playing one string to form the power chord.
Whoa. Yeah,
pretty dumb. But that's how it started. Okay. And then I remember watching live. I'm like, I think a Metallica gig or something, and I see Hetfield like holding the chords, and it was like a aha moment for me. I'm like, holy shit, that's how you do it.
Okay, that's where you see like you can do this better. You can do it a bit better.
Yeah.
Okay. So, but that was kind of like a early teenage band. Did it have a name? This kind of band?
It was Hatred.
Oh, Hatred. Okay. There was a lot of hatred from the beginning.
Yeah, it was a lot of hate.
Okay.
It was technically just a bunch of dudes. It was so I had literally started playing guitar for like 3-4 weeks, and I used to be in a martial arts class at school. And one day I was just walking by the lockers, and one of the guys was singing like a Metallica song, and I'm like, hold on. Approached the guy. I'm like, so do you listen to metal music? It's like, yeah, man, I love this album, all that stuff. And I'm like, you know what? I play guitar. It's like, I play guitar.
Yeah, that's a skill.
And yeah. And then I'm like, if you want to come over one day and I'll show you some stuff, and we could just chill. And he came over and I showed him my guitar skills, which is like, one note per string at the time. And he got obsessed as well. He's like, fuck, man, I want to get a guitar. Let's form a band. I'm like, fuck it, let's just do it. So we did that. He bought a guitar as well, like a used, I think, Power Beat guitar or something. Did that. And then we had a friend of ours, called Ralph. Like, Ralph, would you play drums? He's like, yeah, why not? Okay. And then we ended up buying a used drum set as well. And we just forced our friend Sammy to play bass. Like, we literally just came up to him. It's like, yo, you're playing bass. We're making a band. And that's how it started. And obviously we needed a singer. So we're like, who's going to sing? What are we going to do? And idiot me was like, you know what? If James Hetfield sings and plays, I can sing and play. As you
Yeah.
do, right? Like as if there was nothing to
No,
it,
for that one, you need one player to do the chord and one other to sing it.
right? Yeah,
For
yeah,
this
yeah.
one, you have to split
Right,
for it
yeah.
to work better. Yeah.
I had a lot of stupid confidence, I guess. I don't know. Just stupidity, probably.
You know, but this drive like makes you experiment more, push yourself more. This kind of
Well, we
bit
didn't
of
know.
confidence is not bad.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And then we started jamming, and I think we got to a point where because we were not technically capable, we ended up making a medley of like 10 songs and only playing like the intro of the songs that we know, because we couldn't like figure out the rest of the songs. We couldn't like technically play the songs.
Yeah.
So we ended up doing like a 2-3 hour practice session of us playing the same medley, like the same 10-minute medley of those songs.
Yeah.
Over and over and over again for like as long as I can remember.
So intro riff after another intro riff to another track to
Exactly.
an intro riff,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Yeah, yeah.
Because we always have the intro riffs in our minds of every track we love, right? Before the rest of it. And solos,
the simplest.
how did the solos go at the time?
There was no solo at the time. There was like
Also,
just like nope. Yeah. And then obviously in the meantime we were just like practicing by ourselves and trying to songs and get better, and yeah, that's how that started.
Strangely enough, speaking of people learning an instrument because they just have to, I was reading today about a very famous prog rock band, Jisrutal. I don't know if anyone here knows the band. The bassist of the band is just a guy who they said, you should join us, should learn to play the bass and record in a few weeks our next album. So they just got a guy in, told him that you should learn the bass and start playing. But that turns out to be some sort of an advantage if you kind of learn an instrument by less influence, let's say. So you tend to form your own way of doing it. If you go to a teacher, he's gonna give you all the standards, he's gonna give you all the rules, he's gonna give you all the know the chords, the scales, and you kind of get the habit of just following that. Yeah. And that strangely limits a bit the creativity, limits a bit like puts you in some sort of a trained boundary or classical boundary. So somehow it's good sometimes to learn on your own things with all the mistakes you do.
It's I think it's a double-edged sword, really. Like I kind of wish I went into theory, but I was like most of the people that I look up to and the musicians that I look up to never learned theory. So I'm like, if they don't know it, why should I know it, right?
Yeah.
But then the more I got serious about music, I think like I'm too lazy to go back to it now, but I think it would have been nice if I had a bit of a theory baggage. It would just take me a lot less time to figure things out when I'm trying to do things, like if I'm trying to harmonize the guitar part, or if I'm trying to, find a certain note, instead of taking me like fucking half an hour or like an hour to do so, and just like going through every fret and shit. Yeah, at least it's just like kind of eliminates that, that waste of time on that. But yeah, I mean, if you want to go into theory, you might as well just be careful not to box yourself in all the rules and what should and should not be done, and just enjoy what you're doing and enjoy the music, right? But yeah,
keep making something new, something different. That's valuable in music, right? To innovate, to make something fresh, to grab the attention by not just copying what you hear all the time, right?
I mean, I'm not sure how like innovative we are today with the music, but I think something I was watching an interview for Nergal from Behemoth once, and he's like, what did he say? Something about original versus like innovative or something. It's like, is our music innovative? He's like, no. But is it original? Yes, it's original to us. That's what we do. And I think that's what we can do. At the end of the day, it's like, I find it very hard at this point to like create super new things. And I think if you have that mindset, doing it, like going into it to do that, I don't think that would be very, like, it would translate. It wouldn't be genuine. It wouldn't be like, it would feel that you're overly trying to do something, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, I noticed before maybe not to jump too much into genres description and
Yeah.
all that, but I do notice lately a lot of bands trying to mix genres. Right, try to bring in death with thrash, with some black, with some blues, bit of pop, and maybe some reggae, and then that's one track. Our new death metal album, with
Yeah.
whatever fusion that brings into it. That's one way. Like this kind of mix is giving this feel of originality, not necessarily innovation, but it's original, right? It's
Yeah, I mean, for me now, I mean, if we're talking about like my music, for example, when I started with Damage Rite or PostMortem, it was I had a very clear, specific idea of how I wanted us to sound. Whereas now, for me, it's like whatever serves the song, whatever serves the purpose of what we're doing, of the message that we want. If you need to put in a fucking pop chorus, put in a pop chorus. If you need to make just a breakdown song, just make it like whatever you think serves the message or your vision that you want to apply to that song. So I think people now are way too worried about styles and subgenres and what goes in and what goes out, and just completely forgetting the essence,
the music.
of why we're doing this.
So let's get back on track with timeline. So
All right.
you got into the music, you learned it your own way. You learned the guitar your own way. You played what you enjoyed. You played the music you enjoyed, and you formed like this beginning, like the first band Hatred, which was a jamming kind of medley thing, as you described. At some point, that band transformed to PostMortem, or that just went away and you formed PostMortem? How did PostMortem start as a band?
Okay. So during the Hatred time, this is when I realized I could not sing for shit. So we dropped the whole clean singing thing and singing and playing. But it was at the same time when I discovered Sepultura and Slayer and Pantera and all that stuff. And I'm like, oh, hold on, maybe I could scream instead of singing, because I really wanted to push, right? I just push all that energy out. So we kind of transitioned into doing the Sepultura stuff because I could technically scream and not sing and sound like shit. And this is when I kind of realized I was a bit more serious about it. Like I really wanted to do this. I really wanted to just like play live and like be a proper band. And when you're with a bunch of, you're like 15, 16, you're growing up, you're like the things change in your life and priorities change. And like some of the guys were not as serious as I wanted to be. And just one day I'm like, you know what, fuck this. I can't do this anymore. Like the non-commitment, all that stuff, and I'm like, I'm out. And that's when I started looking for members, and that's when I kind of had a bit of the confidence of me as a player being able to jam with other people. Now, like I'm not playing a one note per string kind of thing, so I can actually jam a full song. So I can actually call out people and be like, yo, do you want to jam? Do you want to make a band? And that's when PostMortem started. Who did we have first? Shit. We had Mark Basila on drums. He's a drummer in Berlin now. He drums for a living. He's an insane drummer. We had Camille Fadl. He's in the US now. And we had a guy called Ayman. That was the first lineup that we did.
Ayman definitely is not in the country anymore, right? It can't be. So Marcus is in Berlin. Camille
I don't know, man. Ayman was a weird character, man. He just like disappears and just like shows up, and so I have no idea what he's doing now. Like I genuinely don't.
And you're in Dubai now, right?
Yeah, I'm in Dubai now.
Yeah, so every band we talk to, every person that mentions the band members, they always end up just not abroad, right? Most 90% of the band members end up abroad, and that for many cases is a reason the band is inactive or less active and all that. That was 2003, right?
So that was about 2002. And then I think our first live was 2003. So we kind of got together and started jamming songs and whatnot. And the first gig we played was in 2003. I was 18 at the time. And that was when PostMortem started. That was the first official live that we did.
Okay. So mostly it was still a cover, doing covers. How
Yeah,
much
we started.
originals there was?
No, there was no originals. We started doing covers. We
Yeah.
started Sepultura and Slayer. Yeah, for the most part, it was Sepultura and Slayer, and then we kind of got into Creator more, then did some Pantera stuff,
Mm-hmm.
um, and and slowly started introducing originals. I'm not sure when exactly we wrote the first song, but I think it was around 2004 when we introduced, an original for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that was that. We started 2003, and like the scene was fucking crazy at the time, man. It was like jam packed. It was like there was a lot of dedication in the scene. There was a lot of people showing up to gigs. There was a lot of local support. It was insane at the time.
Did you ever like get too much into a certain band, played it, maybe covered it, maybe listened to it, and then ended up later not liking their music that much anymore, moving away from it?
Yeah, Manowar.
Manowar. You
I
should tell
even have
JP that one.
I even have them tattooed on like I have the sign of the hammer tattooed
Really?
on Yeah, I mean, there were the reason I wanted to get into this music, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
that's something that would never change. Like I still, like every once in a while, I go back to the previous albums that I liked. I'm like, holy shit, man, that brings so many memories.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, like I'm not following up on what they're doing now. I haven't followed up in ages, and yeah, like my musical taste in general kind of shifted.
Mm-hmm.
So
So once they were heroes that you had the tattoo on, now they're not the main thing. But the tattoo is still the same, or did it
yeah,
shift to something else?
it's still the same. It was the reason for me to get into music, so that would never
Mm-hmm.
change,
Yeah.
regardless of whether I listen to them now or not. They were the reason I got into heavy music, and they were the reason I'm making heavy music. So
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
yeah,
So as soon as you started having originals,
yeah.
making your own stuff, recording it, writing your own lyrics, you had a concept, an idea for an album early, uh, which was like the album.
Uh, I mean, I was angry at the world, right? Like, and oh, I need to
Yeah.
clarify something as well that a lot of people have a misconception about, like the name PostMortem.
Mm-hmm.
Um, a lot of people think it's because of the Slayer song, but it's not. We covered that Slayer song a million times, and I fucking love it. But the reason I named the band PostMortem is because I wanted something to reflect us, the generation that came after war, the generation that came after death. And for those who don't know, postmortem means after death. And that was us. Like I grew up in the fucking war, right? Like I'm and a lot of people like me grew up in that era, and we are the generation that came after that. And I wanted something to represent that. So that's why we had the name postmortem. And I was angry at everything that had to do with politics, religion, the system that we lived in, all that stuff. So yeah, like early on, I knew what I wanted to talk about, as cliche as it is, and a lot of people think it's like, oh yeah, every thrash death metal band want to talk about this, but there's a reason why we still talk about it till this day, because things have not changed.
It's
So
getting worse. Getting
it's
worse.
getting worse. So
Yeah.
yeah, so I was just an angry 18-year-old who just hated everything that was happening around me.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so yeah,
So you had a eventually the album released with the title "The Dehumanizing Factor," right?
the humanizing factor. Yeah,
I'm gonna jump to the date it was released and then go back step by step from where
okay,
it was created. So it's
yeah,
released in 2017, right?
yeah, yeah.
And we have an interview on labmetal.com in 2009 talking to Postmortem. Patrick just posted it there in the chat.
Talking about the
And
album.
in 2009 he said the album is almost ready, it's coming soon.
Yep,
And I
yeah,
found some Instagram video on the you have the Damage Rite Instagram
yeah,
page. They can check that too, whoever is listening or will listen later. And there you mentioned that you had like guitar vocals recorded 2007, drums recorded 2009,
hmm,
guitars 2013. And so there's a journey there with a lot of bumps and ups and downs, right?
yeah, 100%.
So what happened after 2009? Let's say things were getting ready, almost ready. In 2009, you were confident. You were telling us the album is coming soon. What
Yeah.
happened then?
All right, what happened then? So I think we start recording if I'm not mistaken, on the dates, the guitars in 2007, because at the time Ayman had left and we had Maroon join as a guitarist, and Maroon was leaving to France to continue his studies and all that stuff. So we're like, fuck, we need to track, because he was doing all the leads. So we need to track the leads. And at the time, me and JP had invested in a small room, and we bought this equipment and we were recording ourselves.
Yeah.
I mean, as much as we knew how, or thought we knew how at the time. So that's when we started tracking the leads before anything else, before Maroon left. And after that, it was just a nightmare. Like we lost Mark, and then we were finding a drummer, and then we found the drummer, Riyadh, and then we tried to track, and all just like takes a lot of fucking time. And by that time, I was putting a lot of money and effort into it, like upgrading the gear. And I'm somebody who can obsess about things. So the more I learned about production and stuff, and I'm like, fuck, I'm not happy with what I did. I need to redo that. And it got really obsessive with me trying to make it sound as good as I wanted it to sound, because we were playing a lot of technical stuff as well. And I wanted it to be clear, to be as good as of a recording as I want it to be. So that kind of delayed me as well, being, super stubborn about how I wanted things to do. And mind you, I didn't know what I was doing. So I thought I knew I was doing. So I thought I was doing the right thing. So that happened. And then we got the drummer in, we started recording. And then after that, I started doing vocals, I think in 2009 as well, if I'm not mistaken, or 2011, I'm not sure. Me and JP were recording for the same album. He was doing his album and I was doing mine. And then, to be honest, with me being the person that was doing everything at that time, I was kind of running out of gas. I was kind of
too much to do, too much
losing
stress.
interest in it. Yeah, like I felt I was just like alone in this. I'm like, fuck this. Like I'm just putting a lot in this, and I felt that was like a group of people with me that were just like, oh yeah, okay, you do your thing. You know what you're doing. You just like, we'll let you do it. And having Maroon outside of the country, it was just like it didn't feel like a band, right? Like and Riyadh was a very interesting specimen, like an insane drummer to play with, like probably one of the most skilled drummers I've ever played with in my life. But I call him the magician, man. He just disappears, like he then disappears, right? So I'd have Riyadh for like 2-3 weeks, and then Riyadh gone for 2-3 weeks, and then Riyadh reappearing for 2-3 weeks, and Riyadh disappearing for 2-3 weeks. So it was just that, and life, and you know how it is in Lebanon, like it's just you have to deal with a lot of shit. I ended up getting to a point where I recorded everything, and I did not know how to mix and master, and I could not afford to send it out to mix and master. And I would not do it for cheap. Like I would not compromise. Like I went through fucking 5-6 years of trying to record that, and then to just give it away to somebody who might not do what I want with it was like, fuck it. I'd rather not do it than actually put it out, which is not a good thing to do, by the way. Just so we're clear.
You lose the motivation to get it out. You lose the drive to get it out.
It's not just that. In general, finished is better than perfect, right? Like I could have done that, moved on, probably did another one, blah blah blah. But I was just stubborn at the time. Like fuck it. Because at the same time, I thought that I might not do another album. Like that would be it, right? I thought that if this was it, I wanted to sound as best as it can sound at the time. So I just let it go and just put the hard drive in a box, and that was it for a while, until I met Mohammed Bayluni, Ryan. He mastered Svengali's Theory of Mind. And we were talking about mixing and stuff like that, and I learned a lot from him as well, like in terms of production. And I'm like, holy shit, man, this guy knows what he's doing. And I asked him, I'm like, yo, I have like this 10-year-old recording. Would you be interested in giving it a shot, like mixing it and see where that goes? And he he listened to it and it's like, fuck yeah, man, let's do it. He was on board, and that's why it ended up being that year where he actually took it on. I sat with him as much as I could, and yeah, then we could release the album.
2017.
2007. Yeah.
Okay, so you got it finally out, but you still had a band around you.
No, so by the time I got it out, it was the whole band had changed. There was so Camille was already living in the States. We had Ziad join us, Ziad Al-Alam, who
On
played
drums.
Yeah, on drums, who played with Otheon for a while. And I had Shadi Ma'roof. He played with a band called Armory back in the day. They used to be like an Iron Maiden and Metallica cover band. But at the time, it was just like, I think it was like a one-off gig that we wanted to do, and I got the guys together. I'm like, let's just do it. If I'm not mistaken, it was like 2012. We did December, a tribute night to Chuck and Dimebag, and we got like people from different bands to come and join us on stage. But it was just like, just a fun thing. So when the album was out, these guys had already like played the song live with me, but it was not really like, we still don't know if it's unofficially like a band or not, if that makes sense. But then every time like somebody calls us and be like, there's a gig, do you guys want to play? I'll just call the guys up. I'm like, yo, you guys want to play? Yes, let's just play it. Let's just have fun.
Okay.
But yeah, that was not like, when we released it, there was not a proper like band. Like we did shoots, we did some stuff just to look like we were there. But it was just like, it was me that was left from all the lineup that was involved in that album.
And by having like some people to play it live with, some connection to more musicians, right? Now many people who can play, and maybe you can be featured or record for you or whatever. You didn't like, at the moment you're not planning to have the second album released.
At the moment, I have a single that I've been working on. I worked a bit on it during lockdown. That might get released. I still haven't figured out who's going to be on it. I have the skeleton done. I have the structure done. I haven't wrote the lyrics yet because I suck at writing lyrics. It takes me ages to write lyrics.
Really?
Yeah. That's the worst nightmare. But yeah, like I don't have solid plans for it. Like I know I'm going to release it soon, but when exactly, how soon, who's going to be on it, I have no idea. But in terms of album, in general, I don't think albums are a thing now. It's just, if we are going to be, active again, it's going to be just singles, like single after single or whatever it is.
So things are shifting a bit in the market, how bands release their music, how they interact more with the listeners now. You have a direct connection to the listener. You can directly like release something today, tomorrow everybody's listening to it on Spotify, on whatever, YouTube. I see a lot of official videos coming out, like everybody's listening like 3, 4, 5 videos, one every 3 weeks, like to keep the YouTube channel going. Or
hey, I mean, you have to keep momentum, right? Because it's very easy to just drop an album now where you have like 10, 12 songs, and then within a month they're gone, like they're done, right? So, but if you release a song every month, you keep the momentum going, you keep the people happy, and you keep your, in terms of marketing, your name alive. It keeps on popping up. It keeps on being in the news feeds and all that stuff. So you have to be current with what's current, I guess, right? You have to adapt.
I usually like to avoid going into consumerism discussions, but this tends to turn things into just a production process, like just throw the next one.
It is. It is a product at the end of the day, however you want to look at it. Like there is art, there is, the expression, blah, 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 all that stuff that we all know. But at the end of the day, it is a product, whether you like it or not, whether you want to admit it or not. It is a product that you're putting it out, right? We're not like, I personally have no interest in being underground, right? I want to share my music with as many people as I can, because that's what I love to do. That's what I love seeing other bands do. Right, like when my favorite bands release stuff. So for me, it's like, but at the end of the day, it's a product that you need to market and you need to put it out. So whatever you need to do to put that product out, you have to do it. So it's it's just like bands touring, right? Like they release an album and they tour and they do a cycle, tour cycle for that album. It's because they're, you know, promoting that album. They're promoting sales. They're promoting the merchandise. They're promoting themselves. So whether you like it or not, you are a product. I think on our level, like the local level here and whatnot, you know, we're just more doing it for fun, because at the end of the day, we're not making money from it. We're just putting money into it, but we might as well just, you know, try and deliver to as many people as possible. Just about share.
So, from what you know today, from what you see today, and how things run with all this digitalization and everything being so quick, so fresh, so live, so fast, what would you say is the best approach for someone who wants to put his music out to reach the people?
Content, man. You have to make shitloads of content. You have to be online. You have to interact. You have to be present. That's the thing. It's like you have to create. The problem is now with the way things are, you can't just be a musician and be like, you know what? I just want to enjoy the music. I just want to be a musician and do. You have to be a musician. You have to be a fucking social media expert. You have to be an editor. You have to know how to film. You have to know how to fucking film your videos. It's a fucking nightmare, right?
So there's tons of skills to learn, right? To properly move forward. Not just the guitar anymore. It's not about learning the instrument.
There's a million guitarists out there, man. You're not the only original person here that's doing original music.
Yeah.
And I'm guilty of that. I'm not as active. Like I'm not active on my media pages, on my social media pages and all that stuff. I get like bursts of enthusiasm, and I enjoy it for like a week. I do like a week or two of posting every day, doing all these videos and whatnot, and then just like go off and then do that again. It's just
so on the side, you still have your private life, you still have your career, job part of things, the daily tasks, the daily things.
Exactly, yeah.
And you have to prioritize your passion plus everything else that you have to do in life, right? So if music is a passion.
Of course. Of course it's passion. I mean, it needs to be, at least for me, it's my outlet, right? So whatever is happening on the personal life, this for me is an outlet for that. And if it's gonna become a chore, then it's not gonna be fun anymore. Like it's not gonna be an outlet. So just because I have to be there, just because I have to promote and I have to do all that stuff. So I try to be a bit in the middle, I guess.
Okay, so we might at least expect a single from Damage Rite.
Yeah, hopefully. I'm not gonna make the promises I made in 2009 on that interview, so don't hold me.
Okay.
But yeah, no, hopefully, yeah. I mean, I miss that style. I haven't played that style in a while, so.
Okay, so but there were a lot of people that, let's say, know the band PostMortem and listen to PostMortem. And for example, we have a comment from Richard Massouh that he says, we miss PostMortem. I also thought, like, where's PostMortem? I know there's another band called Damage Rite, but where's PostMortem? So it wasn't really clear to everyone that you changed the name from PostMortem to Damage Rite, right?
Yeah, exactly. So PostMortem, like Damage Rite is PostMortem. The only reason we changed the name is because when we decided to release the album, and I'm not sure what year that was way before 2017. I found out that there was like a couple of there was one major German band called PostMortem that was like playing death metal, and then there's a couple of other bands that were called PostMortem, and we just like needed to change the name. That was as simple as that. Like the same members, the same everything, nothing has changed. It was just like PostMortem turned into Damage Rite, and I kind of wanted to still stay in the same what do you call it? In the same box of what I wanted to tell. So Damage Rite, you know, we've obviously we're still living in that. So, you know, till this day in Lebanon, so it just made sense.
So the Arabic version wasn't an option. ما بعد الموت.
Definitely not. Definitely not.
Okay.
Hold on. There was a local band. I don't know if you know Eliam Sawir.
Yeah.
He at some point he had a band. He called it Maut.
Okay.
Yeah. Like,
that's an option.
Yeah.
Okay, so for the topic of Damage Rite, when the single is out, we'd like to hear it. Definitely share it. with listeners. Hopefully, maybe after that single, there'll be maybe another single, maybe another album. We'll see.
Hopefully, yeah. If it ignites the flame again.
Yeah, you never know, right? I would say
Yeah.
you never know. You're part of another band. I mentioned at the introduction. The band's name is special for me because I did the search. Like I was trying to figure out what does this name mean, where does this name come from, and all that. And the name is Svengali. For some reason, I thought it's like Indian culture, folklore thing. Don't ask me why.
Or like Bengali,
Yeah,
Svengali, all that. That's
yeah.
right.
So I thought like it's a different origin. I did my search and I found, let's say, three contradicting stories, but they all connect to a good story for a band name. One is a book written by a guy called Georges Dumouriez, a French guy. The book is called Trilby. And there's a character in that book called Svengali, who's let's say, a manipulative character who manipulates Irish girl. She's a singer. He manipulates her to do good music, but at the same time abuses her. So we could say what your band intends to do is manipulate us as listeners and abuse us. That's one way to look at it. At the same time, this kind of Svengali character has become kind of a psychological type of character, that a manipulative person or a manipulative, but at the same time through music. So there's a musical manipulation of the audience.
It's influential. I'd prefer the word influential than
Yeah.
I
would agree.
Yeah.
There's one more.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know about that. Actually, there's two more. There is something called automaton. I don't know if anybody heard of automatons, but these are dolls made from the 18th century, mechanical dolls. And that was used, a doll, kind of a hypnosis doll, called Svengali. There's a long story behind it. And that doll was used to manipulate people at the same time, or control people, inhabit their souls. And that doll, allegedly, was the only non-human thing that needed exorcism. So there was like priests brought to do exorcism for that Svengali doll. That's another story.
It was bought by a guy called Dan Brown.
Exactly. I have the intro from his show. I wanted to play that. I'm not sure if I should, but maybe Patrick can post the YouTube video. There's a full show of Dan Brown where he shows the doll and he uses it.
Gets the doll to hypnotize people. Yeah.
Okay. And the last story, you'll tell me which one. And the last story is, there's a movie that was released in 2013 called Svengali, about a guy who works in a music shop. And that guy working at a music shop always had the dream to find the band and support the band and make the band famous as a producer or as a guy behind the fame of the band.
Yeah.
And he ends up finding a band, trying to push it for fame. The band's name was The Premature Congratulations. That's a comedy kind of movie thing. But it's also about a band succeeding in music. So it's still connected to music at the end. So all four options were difficult for me to decide which one is it. So you can tell us now.
No, man, it's about being like music in general being like very, very influential. And for us it's just like you take out of it what makes sense to you, right? Like if you look at songs in general and like lyrics in general, like you could hear a song and interpret it in a completely different way than what the intended meaning was supposed to be from whoever wrote it, and it just connects with you on a certain level that does not connect the same way that it might connect with somebody else. So it's literally the same thing. It's just we in Svengali in general, we tend to have a very positive message, about getting hit and picking up yourself and moving forward, all that stuff. So however you want to take that message and however that might influence you, that's up to you, and that's technically what's behind the name. It's just that. And we love the show. I personally love the show, the Dan and Brown show.
Yeah, it's a bit creepy, but
Fucks with your mind, man. I love it.
Yeah, Patrick just posted that YouTube link on the comment section, so whoever is interested should watch this. It's very actually interesting and fun. At the same time, I got a comment from Adnan from Unmuted Show. A shout out to Unmuted Show.
What's up?
Uh,
Good.
Adnan is on vocals in Svengali, right? He's
Yeah,
the lead
yeah,
vocals of the band.
yeah, yeah.
Well, Adnan is happy with that we did our research and figured out the name Svengali story with the Dan Brown and the book thing. And got a comment from Patrick. Patrick is always in the background, just following on the comments. I think he got it right. So it's my job to do my research. I'm a PhD student. We got a comment from Walid Shugari, which is kind of interesting. He says, GM, you're too happy at the mention of abuse.
Well, I mean, if you keep on reading, you'll know why. Because look at Shahoud Rabia's cook. He said, the only knockout mosh pit that I ever performed was while PostMortem having their first or early gig.
So, okay, automatic abuse in the event. I see.
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
man. Those were fun gigs, man. It was a pretty aggressive crowd.
So let's show a bit of the graphic, but visual content. We talked about Damage Rite album.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't want to go back to it too much. Just a quick mention. So that's the album cover, right? That was for the dehumanizing factor, and we see there some destruction, some war, some fire. And somebody is supposed to give us a speech there, right? There's a politician.
So technically, if you look at it in the middle, this is, the politician's pedestal or whatever it is that they usually stand on. The two small ones surrounding it in the back is what the priests sit on and like stand on in church when they're giving the, what do you call it, the waza? I don't know what.
Preaching,
actually. Yeah, exactly. So technically, these for me, combined with the money that they have, represent what the dehumanizing factor is. What fucking is the root of all evil and the cause of everything that we go through today. And yeah. The guy who did the artwork is called Red Pedorso from the UK. Yeah, I kind of explained to him what I wanted. I was like, listen, I want something that shows that religion and politics are fucking up the world. And that's what he came up with.
It's quite a nice summary in one picture.
Exactly. I'm like, that's it, man. Just put the logo on it. We're good to go.
So... in parallel to this, you were already part of Svengali, right? You already have joined Svengali. I would say 2013, was it? Or 14?
I joined Svengali in 14.
14. Okay. And just directly after you joined, the band had the first EP release, right?
Yes.
And that was Unscathed.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
And that was at the same year, 2014. And that's the cover for Unscathed, right?
Yeah.
So there's a guy in the center. There's destruction behind him. He has his face hidden. What's the core theme of the album or EP? What's the sound that also on the EP?
The core message here is exactly what I said before. It's picking up the pieces. Is the unity that you have with your people and your family and your friends. You don't have to be blood to be family, because it's like with Svengali, it's very interesting. Like Svengali is a bunch of people that came together that are from all parts of the world, right? There's me, Adnan, who's Jordanian, Iraqi / Australian. We've got Ali, who's Iranian. We've got Josh, who's Indian. You've got me. It's just a bunch of people that came together and became one family. Because when you live in a place like Dubai, away from home, away from your family, your family is your crew. Your family is your surrounding, and technically that's that. You don't have to be blood to be family.
So that's the core subject.
Yeah, mainly.
Okay. And when it comes to the musical style, if you would describe it, to compare it to Damage Rite, what's Damage Rite?
I was not part of the musical writing of Unscathed. That was Adnan going to a producer called Hadi, and they started this. They started with dabbling around with a couple of chords, stuff like that. Adnan was very much into hardcore and Hatebreed and that era of bands, and obviously he could not really translate what he was doing or wanted to do on the guitar, so he was getting a bunch of people. We had Fadi Shami at the time come in and like lay a bit of vocals, do a couple of guitar work here and there. Hadi was helping out as well, and that's how that came to be. I came into the picture with writing music for Theory of Mind, the album that came after that. And that's where we fought like fucking crazy because of the musical difference that you were talking about.
Okay, so that's 2015. Just 1 year later, you're working on the album, the first album.
Yes. Yeah.
Theory of Mind. So, what were the fights about? Where would you want to take things, and where would the other guys want to take it? And what did you end up producing?
It was just a fucking ego, man. It's like, it was stupid. It's just like, so coming from the Damage Rite background, I did whatever I wanted to do. Like it was my way or the highway kind of thing, right? Like that's how we're doing things. That's how the music is. That's how things are going to be. When it came to Theater of Mind, and like I'll be doing something, and then Adnan would be like, no, I don't like this. Maybe we need to do something else. Or how about you add this here? Or like, just a normal conversation that you would have with somebody. And I'll be like, what? Like, you don't even play the instrument. What are you talking about? Like
Yeah.
it was a bit weird, but then I think we kind of learned to communicate towards the end of it. We understood that like we both wanted what's best for the band, but we kind of translated it in a weird way, I guess. But it was fun. It was a fun process. It was fun to learn how to work with other people. It was fun to see how other people work. When you realize that you could learn a lot from other people, even if they don't play the instrument, or even if they don't necessarily agree with you, that's not necessarily wrong. That it does not mean that what they're saying is wrong. Be open to more ideas, and it was interesting. And I think what's interesting about this album is that we have, I think, 12 or 13 tracks on it, and each track was literally written and recorded in one day.
Wow. Okay.
It was
intentionally.
No, it was. I think we were on a fucking creative high, I guess.
Okay.
It was during Ramadan, and everybody was finishing off work early, because here, just like usually in Dubai, you finish off early with Ramadan stuff. And we'll just meet at Hadi's place, grab the guitar, and just like start doodling around. And then next thing you know, you're like, oh shit, okay, that's a cool riff. Okay, track it. We'll track it. That's a chorus, blah blah blah. And then as doing the music, Adnan would have like a notebook and start like writing lyrics. And then next thing we know, it's like we're calling Fadi, yo, come and just we need you to put a couple of vocal layers here and there. And next thing you know, you have a song. And the first time we did that, we're like, holy shit, man, that's cool. Let's meet up tomorrow and try and see if we can do that again. And that's what happened. We kept on doing this. Next thing you know, we had like 12, 13 songs ready. We're like, holy shit, man.
That sounds like an intensive process.
It was. I mean, it was like long hours. We'd spend like 14, 16 hours.
Yeah.
Of just doing that, but it was fun. Like it was fun. It was tensed. It was interesting. It was very interesting, and it was for me like a very new style of music that I was dabbling into, because I was not into that. I was into all the fucking fast stuff and blast beats and like 220, 240 BPM and all that stuff, and to all of a sudden have melodies and a guy singing clean chorus. And
It's a change. It's a change.
It was a change. Nice change.
Actually, when you mentioned this, like 1 day to record a track, it reminds me there's a YouTube project. Actually, it's a rock band project where they did this kind of a challenge to record one album in 10 hours. Was it? I think. I don't know if you've seen it. Probably posted in the.
Scallon, was it? It's I think Rob Scallon who did that.
Honestly, not sure of the names anymore, but it's a very interesting thing where they just created the full album in 10 hours, recorded it, and you can listen to it on Bandcamp. What about the art, the cover art? It looks quite special, different than most album covers I see.
Yeah, actually, this was hand drawn. I'm not sure what she used. It was a friend of ours who drew that. She did everything inside the album, all the artwork, all the artwork inside the booklet was drawn by her. I'm not sure if it's like oil painting or something. I'm not really sure what the technique was.
Yeah.
But she did that on like big, sure if it was A4 maybe or A3, and then we scanned those, and Hamoud, our friend, digitized them and made them work.
They look really, really special. It's
yeah.
not it's a real handwork. That's scanned.
Everything on this album was done like in-house,
Okay.
like with our people in. So like Hadi, our friend who did that, did the mixing. Bailoni, who I talked about, who ended up mixing Damage Rite, did the mastering. Ishtar did all the drawing for this. Hamoud did all the digitizing stuff. He did our logo as well, the Svengali logo. He did a couple of our shirt designs. So everything is within the family, like within the crew.
Nice. I'm gonna go for this small commentary where I don't know what to call it, but is there an inversed cross here in the picture? Do you have an inversed cross?
No.
You know that kind of commentary, just trying to find things that are not there.
Inverted crosses. Hold on, maybe a burning church.
Yeah. Okay. So again, we'll share the links, YouTube of this album, whatever we could find, Bandcamp, also Spotify. It's all on Spotify, right?
Yeah, you can find everything on Spotify.
Yeah, great. So whoever's watching can go and listen to this after the talk. Let's move to just a few years later. No, it took some time, 5 years, to the next album. I think a lot of bands are recently accusing COVID of giving them enough time to produce the next album. Was that the case?
It released in like right when COVID hits. Like when it hit, that's we released on the 20th of March. That's when lockdown happened.
So that would be Sayonara, released 2020, March 12th.
Yeah.
Okay, and it was already like produced, recorded, and all of that until the release. So we can't blame COVID for giving you the time to work on it.
No. We released prior to COVID. We did not know COVID was going to hit. We had plans to tour, to play live, to do all that stuff, and then we got hit by COVID. So we did not know that was coming. Like everything happened way before COVID in terms of the album being done and recorded and all that stuff.
So I see this kind of stylistic logo where we have the V and the A of Svengali in the center and this triangular thing. It would actually look very nice on a shirt. Do you have it as a shirt that we could buy, for example?
Yeah, not yet.
Not yet, but it would be great. I would like to have this on a shirt.
It's very tricky with the the
shades.
Yeah, those
clouds kind of thing. The space, right?
Yeah. It's a bit tricky to get right on t-shirts, I guess.
Yeah, you're right. Why Sayonara?
Why Sayonara? Because to explain why Sayonara, we need to explain that it took 5 years for us to do this album because there was a lot of shit happening with us. A lot of stuff that changed, a lot of things that happened on a personal level, not as a band, like each, separately. We had, life-changing events and all that stuff. So it took a lot of time for us to do this. And there were some not so pleasant events, I guess. And for us, that was like, by the time we wanted to release, we were already through everything that we needed to go through these 5 years. Yeah. And we needed not to turn the page. We needed to close that book. Like we needed to, it's not about moving to a chapter. So Sayonara means like goodbye, right? Like,
yeah, because I would feel like this is the last album and we're quitting. I wouldn't say in a negative way, but I mean like this is our last effort. This is the best we can do. And that's it out.
No, this is Sayonara to the last 5 years.
Yeah.
To the 5 years that it took us to make the album.
Okay. I want to play a track from it. I have I would say we played at the opening one. Yeah, and let's see. I have two other options. This is Kombat and Quicksand. Which one would you choose?
And you asked me to choose between my kids.
Sorry, I
um,
had to.
I
Yeah.
don't know. Man. I don't know. Let's do Kombat. I think it's very um, representative of what's happening in the world today. Let's do that. Let's do Kombat.
Okay, so we'll
Yeah.
go for This is Combat.
Yep.
There was This is Combat. So we see you here on vocals.
Yes, we do.
So with Svengali, you do the vocals in some parts.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
mentioned already Adnan is the main vocals in the
yeah,
band. And
yeah.
you have the clean vocals, as we showed at the opening, sang by the drummer of the band sometimes,
Josh.
right?
Yes, correct. Yeah,
By
yeah, yeah.
Josh. So
Mhm.
that's great, right? You have a diversity of different vocal styles, different vocal tones, and all of that.
Yeah, I mean,
Um,
we use them whenever we need to. It's not like
okay.
just because I sing, that means I have to be on every song or whatever. Like like I was
Well,
saying before, it's like we
yeah.
now at this point, it's like we serve the song. We serve what the song needs, what we feel would actually add something to it, rather than just just have vocals just because of the sake of having vocals.
Yeah, so you do it when it should be done or where it should be
Yeah,
done.
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
gonna run a short video, just a kind of a, let's say, incentivizing video to buy these Svengali albums. I found it.
Hey,
I found
I
it
want you to
online.
listen, and I want.
Let me see if that would work. It should work.
Hey, I want you to listen, and I want.
It's very aggressive. It's a very aggressive video.
Okay.
Here goes. That I found that on Instagram. It's really motivating to buy the album, so I'm gonna play it.
Hey, I want you to listen, and I want you to listen good. The new Svengali album is up for pre-order. Instead of buying yourself some fancy-ass cup of coffee, go buy the album and support independent artists. And I'll know if you don't. And leave a comment in the section when you're done. Hey, I want you to listen.
I mean, I don't know
and
how you
want
wouldn't want to buy the album after hearing this.
It's quite rare to find someone like so enthusiastically promoting and telling us to skip the cup of coffee from the expensive
Yeah.
cup of coffees and support the bands.
Right? Exactly.
Do you know the background story of this video?
Man, we just wanted to do something different. Like, when we're talking about like marketing and just putting the stuff out, we've always posted like very like a lot of vlog videos. If you check the YouTube channel, of us recording and just fucking around, and we're literally just a bunch of dudes who are like always farting and burping and having a good time, right? So it was just natural to do something like that, because that's how we are, right? Like it does not make sense for us to be like super fucking serious about this is the album of, I don't like, that's not us. And we're not pretending to be people we're not. We're just a bunch of dudes got together. We are as serious as each other about making this music and enjoying this music, and we just have fun with it. And that's what we wanted to make, something different, and we end up posting that video. And we have a lot of vlogs, man. It's, if you watch there's a lot more fucking around in our videos than actual work.
But it's fun. It's fun, and it gets people interested in like to really check things out. I'm worried now. She's threatening me that
Right?
I should do it.
Yeah, man. Especially that we do everything in house. Like everything we do, this is ourselves. So we just try and document everything and just make the best, out of what we have, I guess. Like that video, for example, This Is Kombat, man, was filmed in Adnan's baby room.
Okay.
Like literally a 3x2 room that we closed in, put the lights on. It was just like he would film me grabbing the camera in one hand and the light in the other hand and doing all that stuff. And then I would film him, and then we got Ali, and it's like we literally just filmed it in a room as big as this one here, man. It's just so it's we do everything ourselves, so we might as well just do the promotion ourselves.
Yeah, I saw some really funny Instagram videos of like recording some faces and all that. It's quite a fun page to follow. So,
I mean, it has to be fun for us as well, right? Like it's that's why we're in it to begin with. That's why we fell in love with it. If you take the fun out of it, then there's no point, at least to me.
Yeah. So we talked about recording a lot. We talked about albums. We talked about releases. We talked about all of the, let's say, in the studio stuff or behind the camera stuff. What about the on the stage stuff? Let's talk about that. So on both bands, what would be for you like the best gigs you've been part of as PostMortem, Damage Rite / Damage Rite? What would you name? Which ones would you name? Huh?
You should delete the PostMortem name.
Yeah.
The best gigs. One of the best gigs that we played as Damage Rite was in 2009 when we opened for Lake of Tears. That was different. At least seeing how other people worked for the first time. Yeah, how the people that you look up to or like you grew up listening to do things. That was a really cool one. And then sharing the stage with Onslaught, that was insane for us. Especially me, like growing up listening to Onslaught and being a huge influence on me, just like just hanging out with the guys, and it's like as you do, and like holy shit, man, this is insane.
You're on the same stage.
The gig was awesome. The crowd was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
As for Svengali, it has to be Turkey for me. When we played the Headbangers Weekend Festival,
Mm-hmm.
that was a whole new level for us. Like that was.
How many people attending on average? Or estimate?
I don't remember. I don't remember. But for me, honestly,
Yeah.
it was more of how people did things and the crew and the level of technicality and prep that was in this
Professional production.
was insane. Like it was just like something we've never experienced before, you know, like walking in, having your own trailer and having to write a rider. Like we had never done a rider before. Like what was a rider, you know? And then doing all that stuff and then going in and having like the monitor guy versus the front of house guy. Everybody knowing exactly what they're supposed to do, doing exactly what you've asked them to do, if that makes sense, you know, and not having to worry about like sound issues. And it's
So
just
you
like,
didn't have to say علي monitor kind of
exactly, you didn't have to go like شو عم بيصير أنا وين, you know, all that stuff. It was amazing. It was just like you just literally, and mind you, in festivals, you don't do sound checks, especially with, you know, the band our size. You just do line check. So in that point, you send the rider, and based on your rider, they do everything. Your monitor mix and everything else. You come in, literally, you've got 5 minutes before your playing time. You plug in. You make sure it's called the line check. You just make sure there's signal.
There's signal,
and and then you start playing.
Okay.
And that was so fucking foreign for us as an idea, because in Svengali we have backing tracks, you know, we've got the three singers. The setup is not like a typical setup.
Yeah.
It's like, man, you just start playing and all of a sudden everything sounds fucking perfect. You're like, holy shit. No, this is not real, man. Like that's not real. So the level of professionalism that was there was like fucking insane. Another gig that I fucking love was opening for Sepultura, and the level of technical professionalism that was talking about in Turkey was present here. Like the local promoter and the local crew here, they fucking killed it. It was insane, and that's where I need to shout out Metal East Records, Maltasim, and the crew. They did an insane job, and just being, man, in the same green room with Sepultura, that was a whole, regardless of the show, regardless of how good the crowd was, how good the show was. For me, especially, and like growing up covering the songs I saw play live and just hanging out with the people that made them, was like fucking surreal. And they're like the nicest people ever, like just like super chill. It's like having pizza and, you know, the beer.
So you got to have conversations with all the bands you played with.
Yeah, we chilled with them. That was a different thing, man.
Would you say like you learned something from them, or something like surprised you, or?
Man. I mean, the level of professionalism and technicality and mastering their instruments is ridiculous. It's insane. Like, the level of tightness they had is beyond what you would expect. You know, you think you're prepped, and then you see these guys, and you're like, fuck, man, that's a whole different level. And I always say this, Anna, for me personally, we live in a fucking amazing age for recording for artists, because with the technology that we have, I can never picture myself walking into a tape, you know, studio to record on tape in like the 80s and 90s with my skill set now. Like I wouldn't do it. Like I don't think I'm capable of doing it. We're so fucking pampered, you know, in the modern age.
Everything's much easier, huh?
It's a lot easier. You still have to be tight. You still have to know your instrument. But what they used to do is a whole different level, and the level of technicality they used to have is insane. And you can see it, man. You can see it. Like you can see it when they play. Their crew, the level of discipline that they have. There is no, unfortunately, there's not the Arab, you know, way of yalla mashia. You know?
On the go. Let's go. It's good enough. Keep going.
That's non-existent. And it shows, right? Like you see the difference between playing a local gig and playing with an international act, or a local back in the day, and I don't want to diss anybody, but the crew that we had, the engineers, the guys that never heard metal that used to do the metal gigs, versus the sound guy that comes in and does front of house for like Sepultura or whoever it is, and like all of a sudden the same sound system sounds like 1,000 times better, and like, holy shit, we've been blaming the sound system all this time. It's like, no, it's just
knowing what to do.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I still find that always funny if you have a crew a camera crew recording like a live concert, and if they're not familiar with rock to begin with, you'll see like the camera focusing on the bass player during the guitar solo. And then so if you really don't know what you're doing or how things run, you're just not gonna do a good job, right?
It is what it is, man. But then again, I mean, we had to work with what we have, right? Growing up, and we still do it. We still have fun with it.
I have some pictures from the live. Maybe you can tell us a bit about them if you know some of the context of it. I didn't organize them in any special way or anything, but this is like one of the tight-packed places.
This is Nova, 2012. This is the tribute night that we did for Chuck and Dimebag. I think that was Bassem. I don't remember. I think Bassem was doing a Pantera song with us. We had JP come up and do a Death song. We had Rafi from a band called Metamorphism do a Pantera song. Waleed did the song with us from Chaotheon. We had different people come in, and we just did. I think it was like super cheap. We did not want to make. We never make money out of it, but I think it was like 5,000 with one beer in Nova, and it was like tribute to these two. I mean, heroes of mine, and obviously a lot of people love these bands in the scene. So it was just a fun night. I don't know why I'm in the crowd. I'm probably drunk, but that was 2012.
Yeah, the scene was very, very alive and active in those days, right?
Yeah, were like the earlier you go, the bigger the scene was.
Mm-hmm. But I wouldn't say the scene shrunk. I would say the scene immigrated.
The scene immigrated. The quality of the shows, I think, went down a bit. So people were not really
satisfied,
motivated enough, to come to the shows. I don't know what happened, man. I don't really know what happened. I think last time I played in Lebanon was the Beirut Metal Fest. That was not good in attendance at all. Prior to that, we played Svengali in 2016, and I saw a lot of new faces and a lot of the old faces. I was happy seeing, a lot of new faces come on, but I don't know where these people go or like what happens to this, what causes this. But like back in the day, like 2003 until like 2010, 11, maybe 12. I think that here was towards the end of it, if I'm not mistaken. But it started like just going down and down.
Things changed. So obviously, live gigs or those venues, even like there was less and less events and less metal events overall. But at the same time, there was a bit more releases. So maybe, as you just mentioned, things became a bit easier to record digital work and all that. It became affordable to release, more affordable. Although maybe not to the whatever level it should be. But with less gigs, there was more releases. And so the scene became like sit at home and listen to the album rather than much go to the concert.
Maybe, yeah.
So let's see how things will evolve forward.
Hopefully, to the better. I mean, I've been seeing a lot of people releasing stuff lately. It's amazing and like really good quality as well. So that's fucking awesome.
Exactly. So I'm following a lot of fresh releases, very good releases, very interesting stuff. Quality is by far much better than whatever like releases in what were in 2010 or 8 or 9.
100%,
So the quality has evolved a lot in all the process. We're gonna talk about the process in a bit later. But also kind of the diversity has evolved. Like there was more bands of different genres producing different type of music. At some time in 2010, 5 to 10, there was mostly symphonic metal and the thrash metal mostly,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Maybe a bit of a power metal, but
Yeah.
there's more diversity now. There's the core, there's the prog, there's the some mixed stuff, the symphonic stuff. I feel there's a more diversity. Let's go to the next picture. That's the same event.
Same event, yes. Same event.
Okay.
Chadi, the Damage Rite guitarist. My weird face. Okay. That was the Onslaught gig.
Okay, that's with
This
Damage
was the
Rite
Onslaught gig that we did.
banner. There's a banner behind
So
the
that's
Damage Rite.
Michel, the bassist, the current bassist that plays live. You cannot see Ziad because of the lights in the back.
Yeah.
And Shadi was to my left.
Okay. It seems like the photographer is sponsored by Pringles. I don't know. But
No, that's Comics Fair. He's an awesome dude, man. Amazing photographer. But that's his logo.
the mustache, yeah.
Awesome mustache. Yeah.
That's a cool logo. That's the same gig.
Hmm?
Same gig, different
That's
view.
Shadi.
With
Yep.
Shadi. Okay. Again.
Yeah, same gig.
That's the crowd.
Yep.
That's a different one.
Oh boy. Holy shit. I don't remember when that was exactly. That was a post-mortem night at Cherries, and I don't know how many people remember Cherries here. We actually played the longest set we've ever played in our entire life until this day in my life. It was a 28 songs set.
Wow.
And
Okay.
we live streamed this, by the way. I think that was 2007 maybe.
Live stream with the modem.
Actually, Lebanese Bands. Do you remember Lebanese Bands, the website?
Yeah, sure.
We streamed it on Lebanese Bands. Mark, who was the owner of the website, he came in with a setup. I don't know what they did.
Yeah.
And we actually live streamed the audio.
That's the
and we-
first. That's the first, I think, maybe live stream metal concert from the Middle East, maybe.
I don't know. Maybe I have no idea.
You don't have any archive of that or any recording of that.
I do. But it's not with me. I do have the recordings. It's in unfortunately in Lebanon. All like my stacked hard drives.
Okay. So we need to get it out on YouTube somehow.
It's just audio. That's the thing. There was no video. We just streamed audio. Maybe we could. I don't know, man. It was. I remember I was about to die that gig, man. It was like 28 songs.
Yeah.
It was.
And that was intended. Like you had the list of 28 songs.
Yeah.
And you
We wanted to do like a. Yeah, we wanted to do like a 2-hour live show. Like that's it. We no breaks, no stopping. Just
Okay.
fucking kill the people and kill yourself. Technically.
I guess a lot of physiotherapists made money on the next day.
Yeah. It was a disaster. It was.
Okay.
I couldn't breathe, man. At the end, it was like insane.
Okay.
But it was fun. It was fun.
Yeah, it looks intense. Let's see. This is
Oh, Discordance. That was 2005, 2006. That's actually for the guy that was asking about the inverted cross. This is a church. I'm not kidding. This is a church. So this is an old church in the Lebanese University in French-Quebec, the Beaux-Arts. Yeah, so that they're not using that church anymore. So I don't know who did. It was 2 people from Jbel did the concert. They called it Discordance, and they took the church and did the installation in it. And I think that was one of the biggest crowds as well that we had locally. I think there was like about fucking 2,000 people that night.
wow.
It's
Okay.
a
It
local
fits,
band.
it fits that much. It's a big
Yeah,
church.
it was huge. It was a church, and you've got the mezzanine floor as well, like the upper floor. It's
Yeah.
like the balcony. And
Yeah.
There were people on the balcony. There was people. It was insane. The sound was fucking bad. Not because of anything, because of the acoustics of the church.
Echo and reverb.
Yeah, it's not true. It was ridiculous for
Yeah.
us inside. Like I think that was one of the lives where we could not hear anything, and we could just like rely on us pretending to know what we're doing.
So
Literally.
that's also a very special historical thing where metal bands are playing in a church
Right? Yeah.
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 in the
Satanism.
Middle East. Okay,
Yeah.
but
Shortly afterwards, everybody got arrested, and then we got fucked.
okay. So there were consequences
No, not because of that, but
after it.
what year was it? I don't remember what year the whole Satanism thing came out, and Waleed got arrested. I got arrested. A lot of people got arrested because we listened to metal music and had tattoos, and long hair.
Yeah, that kept happening every 3 to 4 years. Like with every
Yeah.
small incident that had nothing to do with metal, they would say, the metalheads.
Yeah, I mean, every time politics needs to
Yeah,
do something.
distract
they need
people with something.
Yeah, 100%.
That's same gig.
Same gig. Yeah. I mean, we have the thing is probably we have the best photos live from that gig, but the worst sound ever.
It's a balance. It's a balance. You gain
That's
photo
Beirut.
quality. That's
Yeah.
where.
Beirut Metal Fest. That was the latest. That was the last Damage Rite gig we did last year, was it? Or no
18.
Yeah, 18. Yeah.
Okay, so you would say that was supposed to be a big fest, but it wasn't that much attended.
No, I don't know what happened because they brought in big names, man. They had Destruction, they had Decapitated. We played on the same night of Decapitated. I'm not sure what went wrong. I'm not sure what or why the attendance was not as good, but it is what it is, I guess.
Okay, I guess in 2018 we already started to get into, let's call it, economical decline. That could have influenced things a bit. But yeah, so unfortunately I was in Lebanon at the time even to attend it. So I would have liked to, but that's maybe the only concert so far I wasn't part of that you were part of in Lebanon.
Okay.
Almost any other one, I was there somewhere between the crowds. And where's this one?
Mad Wheels, man. That place. That was 2006. There's a place called La Cité Junior. They had this place upstairs. They called Mad Wheels. And I think every fucking local band played there. It was amazing. I think this is one of the best times or year that we played. Like the place was always jam-packed. It was like people used to come in buses from like Batroun and Jbel and Trablos and everything.
I remember.
Like, the scene was fucking dedicated at that time.
Yeah.
And it was fucking insane.
There were people organizing buses and posting on Facebook. Whoever's attending, this is the number of the bus. This is where you find it. There's one from Saida. There's one from Tripoli. There's one. Yeah.
That was a good time, man. I think that probably was my favorite time in the scene.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was really active, really fun events, and a lot of enthusiasm. A lot of people coming from different places. Everybody's in and.
It was a shithole, man. It was a shithole. Everybody had a good time. Everybody, was there for the music. It was just awesome.
Okay, let's see what you have next. Same gig, right? I know it's from
the
the drum setup.
Yeah, look at that place, man. It's like ridiculous. Yeah, the long hair days.
And that's with the what do you call this stance?
I don't know, man. That's me trying not to fall on the drum stance, I guess.
Okay. This one?
That was Discordance again.
Yeah. Again, so we talked
about
it.
Yeah, that's Mark in the back.
I guess that's it for the pics I have now. I'll check if I have more. Yeah, so there's obviously a lot more. Unfortunately, I don't have at the moment like pictures from like the Lake of Tears, for example, or Onslaught gigs, but we talked about them. We will share them in the comments, like whatever coverage of those events there is. We'll share maybe the YouTube if.
I think there's a couple of YouTube videos out there of people posting them. So.
Yeah, but unfortunately, maybe not with the best audio quality. So
no, definitely. When it's phone quality, yeah.
We warn people about that one. So live, we talked about the live. We talked about the recording. We mentioned a bit the technicality, the digital process. Maybe you mentioned the old tapes method and how to record. You mentioned that you were fiddling around trying to learn how to do things, and you recorded separate things, and you were learning. And then you mentioned, I guess, Mahmoud was his name, who helped you with Damage Rite mixing.
Muhammad Baylouni.
Muhammad Baylouni. So when you got to him, you didn't even have enough experience to do the
nothing.
But at the moment, you're at a very, very different place with knowledge, right? So you have something you own as a grind room studio, right?
Yeah, that's very decent. Yes.
So what's the grind room studio, and what does it do, and what do you do there, and what came out of it so far?
Yes.
Tell us more.
So Yeah, I mean, when I met Muhammad Bailouni, I didn't know anything about mixing or mastering or production and all that stuff.
Yeah.
All I knew is how I wanted it to sound, and I was trying to explaining it to him without me sounding dumb, and him trying to decipher and figure out what I mean. Um, and then I sat on a couple of sessions with him, and like I'm somebody who just asks a lot of questions. So I was like asking, "What are you doing here? What are you doing there?" And it's like he's more than happy to answer questions. I have another friend of mine who owns a studio in Lebanon, the Audio Loft.
Mm-hmm.
Karim Benno. He is a fucking insane engineer as well. He taught me a lot as well. He was always more than happy to answer any questions I had. Um, he was full on willing to help. But the whole idea came with me wanting to mix Sayonara and do the production on it, because I knew exactly how I wanted it to sound, and I wanted to figure out how to make it happen, because I didn't think I could actually explain it to someone. Like, we were so deep in it, and Sayonara is a very, very personal and emotional album to all of us. So the idea of just letting it go to somebody else was not an option for me. So it was like, okay, I'll learn how to do this. I'll learn how to mix, and however long it's gonna take, I'm gonna do it. And I
Yeah.
started dabbling more and like researching more and annoying Kareem more, annoying Bailouni more. Spending 16, 18 hours a day trying to mix, YouTube videos. I just did everything that I could possibly do to learn how to do it. To the point where it was like obsessive. It was like it wasn't healthy. um, and then while I was doing that, Junior from When the World Burns, previously of Weeping Willow, approached me with a project that he was working on, and asked me to mix it and master it and whatnot. So I was doing that as well. He was kind enough to trust me with that. But then, yeah, doing Sayonara and whatnot made me realize that I actually really enjoy this. Like I like to nerd out on these stuff, and decided to go into it a bit more seriously and started Grind Room Studio and started offering my services as, I mean, based on what I did with Svengali and When the Burns and all that stuff. Whoever wanted to work with me was welcome. And like a long story short, I do, music production now for Grind Room and mix and master and all that stuff, all the fun stuff.
So the main motivation was for your own music first, right?
Of course, it always starts like that, I guess. At least with me. Like,
And how did you? What have you produced so far? From Sayonara is the first thing, right?
no, previously, actually, When the World Burns released before Sayonara. So I did When the World Burns. I think so far we've got 4 or 5 songs out. And the concept is very interesting with When the World Burns, because they're 2 brothers, Junior and Kareem, and they've got Rani on bass. And what they're doing is they are bringing in vocalists that they always admired and loved. So there's one song with the vocalist from Misery Index, for example, Jason. There's one song with Gino from Weeping Willow. There's another song from with a girl called Mara. So like Ash from Agatho Damien and all that stuff. So they're just like bringing in people that they always admired and looked up to, and working with them. And so that makes their songs very different, because they're catering the songs to how they think that vocalist would fit the song. Right? And they're very diverse people. They like a lot of different styles, so they're not really limiting themselves into, like, you'll find like the song with Jason is like death metal, and then the song with Ash is like black metal, and then it's just like all over the place. There's no fixed style. So that was the first release, When the World Burns. Then I did Sayonara, and then I worked with a band here called Second Son. We just released a song with a band called Aramaic. That just got released, I think, yesterday or the day before. I'm not sure. What else have I done? I don't know, man. Keep forgetting. I'm doing a lot of acoustic stuff as well that I will be releasing soon. That's completely different from what I usually do, just like acoustic covers and whatnot. What? Who else? Oh, Mansfeld, a band from Germany that I worked with. Awesome dudes, insane music, literally and figuratively. It's like very weird music, but very well done. I jumped on board with that. They were crazy enough to trust me to do the process. Yeah, man, and it's been fun. I did a reggae project. I'm not sure if that's going to be out or not.
Yeah. This is the
Yeah,
Mansfield.
yeah,
I got
that's-
the album. It's quite a
Nice.
fun album. I liked it.
Yeah, you like it? Yeah, I
Yeah.
did the mixing on that. My friend George from Greece, he's the one who did the mastering. Yeah, man, and I'm working with another local band now called Verdict, death metal band. I hope they will be releasing some stuff soon as well. And yeah, I'm just having fun with it. It's not my main job. That's not what I do for a living. So it's just what I do for the love of music, I guess. That sounded very poetic.
But you're already like it's been what, a year, and you already have like an album you've mixed, a single you've mixed, something else on the other singles, the world when the world burns,
And it's
and
fun.
there's
It's just like
yeah.
I don't see it as work. I just see it as fun. Like you just sit, you just
Yeah.
do it. It's fun. It's all about being creative for me. Like, it's just a creative outlet at this point, and whatever gets that creativity out. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I have, let's say, kind of two options here. I can play one more video from Svengali, so Quicksand.
Yep.
Or we can, I guess we'll get in trouble if we run something from YouTube directly. I'll play the track from Svengali, Quicksand.
Okay.
And if I wanted to play a later track from When the World Burns or Mansfield,
Yep.
do you have a specific suggestion for, or I would choose any and run it from When the World Burns, for example?
I mean, I would play Bloodlust because it has Jason on it, and I love Misery Index from When the World Burns. I'm not sure what Mansfeld has released so far on YouTube, but whatever is released, you can play. I mean, all their songs are fucking insane. So,
Okay.
you'll get that. Yeah.
I'll check. I'll run now Quicksand from Svengali, and
Sounds-
we'll talk further, and then we'll come back to the other tracks, the other
Sounds good.
bands. Okay, let's go to Quicksand by Svengali.
There's nowhere left to run.
So that was Quicksand. Um,
Sir.
quite interesting. Quite interesting. Nice music. We have this clean vocals in this one, and we have this diversity. Would you describe this? Would you describe Svengali's latest album as the modern sound of metal?
I don't know. Honestly, I don't know how that's gonna sound. I don't care. Like it's just it's what we do. Like we don't sit and be like, all right, you know what? We're gonna try and sound like this.
Okay.
And you could probably if you look at the album, you could probably see the difference between the songs and kind of feel the different eras, or the different years that the songs were made in, and the different mindsets that we were in, right? But there is no formula of us wanting to do something here or wanting to do something there. Like, it's just we play what, like at this point we just play what we play. Like if you go back to Freight Train, like the start of Freight Train, like the verse riff is a pure thrash riff, right? And then you've got a breakdown that's considered like more on the new metal side of things, hardcore and whatnot. And then you've got the clean core. So for us, it's just like, honestly, it's just we're making music that we want to hear, that we want to enjoy, that we'd like to listen to. And actually, I was surprised once. I was in the car with a friend, and I think I was playing one of the mixes because I was obsessing about the mixes as I was speaking earlier. And I think Adnan in the comment said he got files called Final Mix 63.
Yeah.
Because I was literally like obsessing about it. But the thing is, like listening to it in the car and whatnot, and my friend was like, "Do you listen to your own music?" I'm like, "Of course I do. Like, why wouldn't I listen to my own music? Like that's a part of me. That's what comes out of me. Like that's what I want to hear. Like I make it because it's the music, I want to hear it. So it does not make sense to me that I wouldn't listen to it, if that makes sense. I don't know. So we don't really put a label or we put ourselves in let's say we don't confine ourselves in a certain genre. I don't fucking believe in genres, but I hate the whole fucking subgenres and genre elitists, and this is not death metal, this is thrash, technical math. I don't give a fuck, man. If it's good music, it's good music, period. It's bad music, if you like it, you like it. I don't care what it is. Why am I gonna stop liking something just because it's called I don't know what? You know what I mean? For me, it does not make sense. And unfortunately, a lot of people like the keyboard warriors online and the elitists, it's always about, this is not true. I don't know what. It's like, who gives a fuck, man? It's just music is your way of saying things, your way of portraying things, your way of portraying emotions. However you feel that day is how you feel that day, and that's what's going to come out. That's what's going to translate. And we don't put a barrier on that. So I like for sure 100% the production is very modern, and this is what I wanted. Like I'm somebody who's very techie, very nerdy when it comes to technology and all that stuff, and I like to abuse it. Like if something helps me to do one thing, if something helps me to reach a goal faster or whatever it is, I'll take it, I'll do it. And if something helps me sound better, I'll do it. So in terms of the production and how the album sounds, yes, it definitely sounds modern. Is the music conforming to modern genres? Maybe. I don't know. Like I genuinely don't know. It's I think there's like we've got a ballad in the album. Like there's a song called Better Off. It's a fucking love song. Like it's you know what I mean? So it is what we were at that time when the song was done. As simple as that. So that's how I like to like. For Damage Rite, that was completely different. For Damage Rite, I wanted to sound like that. I wanted that style. I wanted to be confined in that style and not go out of it.
So you decide from the beginning. You decide from the beginning where you want to go.
I think I was a bit less mature musically. I was one of those guys that like would not listen to something if it's not a certain way. But then you grow, you change, you mature, evolve, you learn, right? And if you don't do that, then there's a problem. If you want to, be stubborn and get stuck, where you are, then there's no progress, man. And
Exactly.
yeah, that's not how I function personally. It might work for other people, like being in a comfort zone, being in a, there's nothing wrong in it, right? But it's just not in me. It's not in my DNA. I can't do that.
Do you have a favorite track that has nothing to do with metal?
Michael Jackson, man, like one of my
Okay.
favorite, like, fucking artists
MJ.
of all time.
So
Yeah,
JM likes MJ.
right. Wish I had his money though. But yeah,
Yeah.
no, like Michael Jackson. I grew up with like 90s music, man. Like the 90s pop, R&B scene is like, it's something I grew up listening to, and I still enjoy it.
Yeah.
It's still, like, when a Backstreet Boys song comes on, or like a Tupac song comes on, or like Eminem, like, I fucking love that. If for me, it's like, if it's good, it's good. If it's good music, it's good music. Like,
Exactly.
I don't want to label that.
Adnan just describes Svengali's sound as us arguing. So it's you and Adnan arguing. That's Svengali.
Yeah, exactly. That's us always fighting over. So I mean, we kind of
Okay.
came to more of a understanding now. Like, it's not as much as it is in Theater of Mind, but there's still always the back and forth. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, we kind of go back and forth until we're both happy. And now the only difference is
Yeah.
that we know that it's not a pissing contest. It's not about our egos. It's more like, we both know that we want what's best for the song and what serves the songs, best. And we know that we both are fighting this corner, and it's not about ego or who wants to be right and who is wrong. So having that in mind makes the argument a lot more objective than subjective. And, at some point you'll end up getting to a resolution. So sometimes he's right, sometimes I'm right, sometimes,
Yeah.
we
So
just
I'll take my copybook now and write. We have a new metal genre called argue metal, right?
Argue
That's
metal,
pioneered by Svengali.
yeah. 100%. That's what
Okay.
argument sounds like.
Exactly. Okay. So I would say the term was coined first by Adnan on a live chat as argue metal.
Yeah. Argument.
Okay. So going one last subject on recording, on getting the music
Yeah.
recorded. We talked on that. We mentioned the situation with COVID, and I was asking, was COVID the reason for Sayonara, like the help that gave you the time for Sayonara? But actually, COVID gave you time for something else.
Fucked
Gave you
us up.
time.
So we released. I mean, we already had everything planned when we decided to release Sayonara. So we
Yeah.
already had videos out. We already had like 3 videos out before that. As you usually do in the marketing campaign, we had more videos to come out after the release of the album. We were planning on touring, but obviously everything shut down, so we couldn't do that. So we tried to stay as active as possible online and as present as possible online, to keep the momentum of the album going, and try and not have COVID fuck us.
You
But
started.
yeah,
Yeah,
sorry.
go ahead.
Yeah, so I'm just saying, like, that was that. So we tried to stay as active as possible, as Svengali, and try and not kill the momentum of the album.
But you also started a YouTube channel last year, right? And it's
Yeah.
as simply called JM Elias, without any space, just a connected name. It's very easy to find. It's a very, very useful YouTube channel for anyone who wants to record anything, right?
I hope it is. That was what I was trying or aiming to do.
Yeah.
When I was trying to learn how to mix and like find all that technical shit, I struggled with finding straight to the point 5-minute, 3-minute videos that would explain what I needed to know without shit ton of introduction and information. To be fair, that is helpful. Like, there's a lot of things you need to know before you start doing things, But at the same time, sometimes it's like, man, just show me how to fucking do this thing. Like, just show
Get
me.
to the
Like,
point,
I don't need
please.
to understand why
Yeah.
I'm doing
Yeah.
it or how I'm like, what is the reasoning behind it.
Yeah.
But just show me how to do it. And I couldn't, like, I really struggled with that stuff. And since I had the time on my hands and wasn't doing much during COVID and we're under lockdown, I'm like, you know what? I know a lot of people now, like we talked about the technology, are recording at their home, are trying to mix on their own, are like doing all that stuff. And apparently the number of home studio recording like fucking skyrocketed, during lockdown and COVID. And I decided to put out what I know in that format, in the short 3 to 5 minute format, get straight to the point information of the things I know how to do. There might not be right. Like let's make a huge disclaimer here. What I do might not be the right way to do things. It's just how I know how to do it, and it works for me. And I decided to just start sharing that and hopefully help people like me who were looking at information and not able to find it. And I think I did my best as well to find a lot of free stuff to be used, like plugins and stuff that you would need for mixing, because I knew like people were struggling with money, people were being let off, with work and all that stuff. So I made it like a mission to try and find as many free plugins and free stuff that will allow you to mix and get decent quality and good quality stuff without having to, break the bank.
I see.
To do so. And yeah, it was fun. It takes shit tons of work though, but it was fun to do. I had the time to do that.
Yeah, tutorials take a lot of time to prepare, to set up, to record and edit and make it in a short format at the end, right? It takes time. So this is where you learned, you improved your skill, you reached a certain confidence in what you do and what you can do, and you wanted to share it with others so they can learn from it and catch up, right?
Yeah.
Somebody used you to learn and improve his process. Who's that? In some sort of a podcast thing, or?
Oh, are you talking about Adnan?
The abuser, the arguing abuser, right? We can call him.
Yeah, the arguing metal.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, when I started my YouTube channel, Adnan started. I think he started on Facebook first before he moved unmuted to Twitch. And yeah, he just wanted to talk, creative stuff with people.
Yeah.
He wanted, it's like we. That's the thing. Like I think in general, being creative is something that, or creativity or whatever it is, I don't know what we call it. Like is part of our life. Like we need that as an outlet. And Adnan wanted to do that show where he shares other people's stories. He talks about the scene, talk about with creative people, and all that stuff. And decided to start that podcast thing. And I helped set up do the audio setup at first when it started, and I was the guinea pig in a couple of episodes where we were like testing stuff and whatnot, and jokingly came up with the unmuted name because he tends to mute his guests or himself or everything, and it was a bold statement, unmuted. And yeah, that's helped him out, and now he's fucking killing it, man. He's been doing it for a while. He moved to Twitch, and
it's a very fun show. I've joined several times. It's a really fun conversation, very interesting things. There are some
he's doing different stuff now as well. Like he's doing like I think the Scream stream where he's doing like some of the Scream stuff. He's doing Sweep Night where he listens to underground Middle Eastern bands. I'm not sure if he transitioned to international underground bands, but I think was focusing on the area on the Middle East. And then I think he's doing the unmuted like podcast thing once a week now. I think they've reached episode 100 now.
Soon. I think
100.
June 2nd. June 2nd is episode 100.
The next one is 100. Yeah.
I would really recommend anyone listening to join on June 2nd for episode 100 on Unmuted. Shout out to Adnan style. I have a suggestion for Adnan, I guess if he's listening.
Okay.
The next episode, maybe he should, not that one, the 100, maybe the 101, he should do it, the entire episode, while he's muted. Just keep it muted and run the entire episode. See how that goes.
I think he probably did that one time. Like, he probably muted himself for like a good 15-20 minutes on an episode and
The whole
stalking himself, and you can see the chat go like, "You're muted, we can't hear you, you're muted, you can't hear you." Like you can see it. He's not foreign to, yeah.
Okay. I always have a lot to talk about. At some point, I should take a break. I should give you some time to switch. I have downloaded meanwhile 2 videos. I can play one right now. One is from When the World Burns, a play called Man, and the other option is Mansfield Sechster Streich. It's a kind of playthrough. So it's a hit number 6. Strike number 6. So which one, Mansfield or When the World first?
I mean, are we playing them both?
No, I'm gonna play one now. Then there's more to talk about. Then I'll close with the second.
Let's go to Germany then. Since we're talking about the local scene a lot, let's just do the German dudes.
Let's see, Mansfield Sechster Streich. I didn't see that one, so I don't know what to expect. Let's see.
All right, let's do it.
glüht
So that was Mansfield. Quite a different sound, huh?
Yep. Yeah, definitely different.
They're a very special band. I really love their album. I listened to it, I don't know, hundreds of times already, while working and while trying to work. Because it doesn't let you work. It's just, you have to shake with it at some point. I really enjoyed it. I like the quality, the sound, the mix. It's a well produced album. There's something there that was special to me. I always wanted to hear a chicken sing. So that album has a track where it's based on the chicken rhythm, and chicken are the most creative rhythmic source. They have their own sequence of time, and there's a track based on the chicken sound, let's say, or the rhythm.
Actually, that was the first track they sent me because we had we got introduced through a common friend, and I offered to help and let's do the album and whatnot. And they're like, okay, which song do we start with? They were trying to explain to me, what their music sounds like and how it is and whatnot. And they're like, we don't know what song we start with. And I'm like, all right, send me the most complicated song you have. Like we'll base everything on that. And if we nail that, then everything else becomes easy. Mm-hmm. And I remember they sent me that. It was the first trick, and it starts with a fucking chicken. It's like going that. I'm like,
it's amazing.
I was like, I mean, you definitely thought your music was special, but dude, you've got chickens in it.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it was amazing, and and it was honestly like it was really great working with them as well. It's hard to trust somebody with something because I know that they've worked on the album for a long time. They got fucked over a lot through the times and whatnot. Like their story is very interesting, and for them to just trust me with it as well was just like a big thing for me, at least. And they were like amazing to work with. Yeah, man, it was very, very interesting hearing the songs for the first time, like hearing that chicken sample kick in, and I'm like, dude, what am I mixing? Like, how do you mix a chicken? like YouTube, like just go to any fucking course, right? And be like, all right, how do I make the chicken? Like, what the fuck, man?
In a metal track,
in a metal track, exactly. Chicken doing metal. But it was fun, man. It was fun.
Yeah, for those who are interested or just found this track interesting, I have to let you know, like, the tracks are very diverse, but at the same time, each track is, they're very special. They're diverse and special. So
on their own.
I'd recommend you check the whole album. It's on Spotify also. There is one thing we didn't mention. I didn't mention. You did sing on a release with Anthony Caueton as in the project Death Tribe, right?
Yep.
So you were on vocals on one of the tracks?
Yep. He was doing this project. He was still in Dubai at the time. And yeah, he had these songs written, and he was just bringing in different vocalists and different styles. He asked me to be on one of the songs, and yeah, we did that. It was fun. It was interesting. Like I'm always down to do stuff like that, man. I'm just like I love making music. I love the whole process of making music. I hate recording, but it's part of it. But yeah, the whole process was fun. I think there was me, there was Waleed who did a couple of songs. There was a guy called Yumni here. He got a bunch of people to do different stuff on the album. It was interesting, and I think he's got a new song out that he released yesterday, if I'm not mistaken. So he's got another album coming with like a bunch of different people. Now he's in the Netherlands and Holland. I think he got like some vocalists from there as well.
There's already some very good releases. He has some singles with videos. Again, we'll share them in the comments. There's a very, very nice track that also came at the time of difficult times in Lebanon called Saura. It's a very nice track to check, and the new track also is a very good track. We'll share the links for that. We talked already about When the World Burns, and I will also play a track at the end of our talk. We will close with that one with the Waleed vocals. I still have two things to just briefly mention when it comes to, let's say, career and work. You are part of a production company. And through that, you work in video production, audio production, system setup, hardware setup, that kind of general work, right?
Yeah, so I own a production company here called CTG Productions, and we are in the production work. So we do film production, we do audio production, we do stage and sound and light setups. I'm by profession I'm a lighting designer, so I design stage lights and stuff like that. I still did it until COVID hit and there was no events anymore. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, so that in terms of my day job, it's still in the creative realm. It's still in the field, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, and the skill and knowledge you have and the access you have from that would definitely help you to present your music, right? To maybe set up some of the events later on, or, right? Could help yourself with it.
It's just it's completely different skills, man. It's like running a business versus
Yeah,
even if it's in the creative world versus actually just being creative for the fuck of it and just enjoying it.
there's less freedom when it's a
Yeah,
job, right?
exactly. Like, it's still corporate at the end of the day. It's still like you still have deadlines, you still have deliverables, you still have all that stuff to do. That's what your livelihood,
Yeah.
is fucking counting on. But I guess I'm lucky that I'm still in the same realm of what I do in general, so I get to
Yeah.
enjoy it. So I get to enjoy doing this and get paid for it. If that makes sense.
That's not bad. That's not bad.
That's not a bad thing. I think I'm fortunate enough to be
Yeah.
to be doing something that I enjoy doing and I love doing, and at the
Yeah.
same time have it be my main source of income, or like what I do for a living.
Okay.
I can't complain on that side.
I'm gonna transition to the second subject, or
Okay.
in the way that any I would say Lebanese journalist would transition in a
Okay,
poetic
shit.
style. In a poetic style, in your
Yeah.
music, you capture reality, you put it in lyrics, and you visualize it with the videos. And that's way in art you are capturing reality and recording it forever. But you also enjoy another way to capture reality, photography. Can you tell us about your love of photography?
Oh man, that's just a hobby that I got into. I think about 2 years ago. I just started just like a hobby, just clicking pictures here and there, and
Yeah.
yeah, next thing you know, it's like I'm enjoying it more, getting a bit more serious about it, just shooting a couple of friends here, a couple of friends there, and next thing you know, it's like you're being hired to shoot stuff. And like, hold on, like I'm not a photographer. Like I still don't consider myself like a proper professional photographer, right?
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of people out there that do a fucking amazing job, like a million times better than what I do, but it's another creative outlet, man. It's just another creative thing that you could do, and like you don't necessarily have to be good at everything you do, as long as you enjoy it, right? If you enjoy
Yeah.
doing it, do it. Fuck it. I personally am against social conformity and social conforming to people's opinions and what you should and should not do. I think as long as you're not hurting anybody with what you're doing and you're respecting everybody's space or whatever it is,
Yeah.
and do whatever the fuck you want to do, man, and enjoy it. So photography is one of those things that I enjoy. I enjoy I don't know how to say it, capturing just like the beauty of people, I guess.
So
You know?
with the focus on beauty, you would say. But
I mean, not to be taken out of context, but
Yeah.
yeah, like everything, like anything can be beautiful, right? Anything you could just show it in a completely different million ways, where you could show how pretty it could be or like how ugly it could be, right? Everything has two sides to it.
Yeah.
I choose to just be creative and show the beauty side of things, especially women. Like in general, like I tend to like. I think women are the most beautiful creatures, right?
Yeah. I would agree.
Strong, powerful. Without them, we're nothing, right? And I just like to showcase that, like just empower them as much as I can, as humbly possible as I can, and yeah, enjoy it. Enjoy another creative outlet. As simple as that, man. Just I mean, I don't shoot that often.
What's
Whenever
the
I
account
get
name for the listeners?
What?
What's the account name for the
It's
listeners?
JM.Polaris Visuals with
Okay.
a Z at the end, not S.
Should be easy to find then. I guess
Yeah.
we'll also post in the comments.
Yeah. And I usually I like to do stuff that kind of triggers people, right? So try like to push buttons, make people ask questions, make people
Yeah.
question shit, right? And it's fun.
Definitely fun. It also helps you like broaden your thinking, relax your boundaries a bit, accept
Learning
things
a
that
skill.
you
There's
you
nothing
don't
wrong
usually
with learning a
accept.
skill.
Uh-huh.
Nothing wrong with learning something new. I mean,
Definitely not.
learning curve, I think, is always fucking going. So
It should remain going upward, right? It should never
yeah,
like just stagnate. Life becomes boring when there's nothing new to experience, I guess.
yeah.
Right?
Find what makes you happy. Find what makes you like tick. You know that
Yeah.
stuff. What makes you really enjoy what you're doing and do it regardless of what that is. Like
Yeah.
there's no limits to that.
I agree. I've reached the end of the long list of questions. That doesn't mean it ended. There will be more questions maybe for another session. Hopefully, maybe when you have the next Svengali album, maybe
Mhm.
when you have the second Damage Rite album. Not in the next 10 years, earlier.
No, we have
But
we have a Damage Rite song hopefully coming up soon. We have a Svengali song hopefully coming up soon as well that we're
okay,
working on. It's just a bit slower than usual,
yeah.
but it will get there. It will definitely get there.
We will definitely be sharing that too. So keep us posted, and we'll also keep all our audience posted. We'll follow up on the bands. We'll share videos, audio, whatever comes new, interesting stuff. And what would you, if you want to close this kind of a storytelling, our discussion, our conversation? Do you have something like special to say to the people who will watch this, who are
I mean,
Svengali fans, Damage Rite fans, or metalheads in general?
first of all, thank you for everybody who tuned in. Like it's very humbling to see people interacting with this and being here. And thank you guys for considering me as well. Like to take the time and talk to me about all that stuff. It's it brought back some good memories. And if I have anything to say, is just man, support your local artists. A share is free. A like is free. Sharing a song with somebody that you think might like it is free. It does not cost you anything. But on the other hand, it goes a long way for the band. You have no idea the power of social media and the power of sharing and the power of fucking putting things out because of social media is insane. And I think people take it for granted sometimes. It's like, I don't have to share this. Somebody else shared it. But trust me, when you do, it makes a huge difference. Whether it's for Damage Rite, Svengali, When the World Burns, any other band. Like, if you really, you don't have to share anything you don't like, right? Like, I'm guilty of that. Like, I don't
Yeah.
share for the sake of sharing.
Yeah, if you get a
But
message from someone that says, "Hey, that's my new video, please share it,"
it
would
doesn't
you
matter.
feel
If I like it,
motivated if you didn't even watch it? Would you just decide to share without watching it?
if no, for me, if I connect with it and if I
Yeah.
agree with it, I share it, right? If I don't connect with it, I might not.
Yeah.
But it's like that's a very fine line between what I would share and what I wouldn't, and why I wouldn't. It's just like a whole different conversation. But
Yes.
for the most part, I try to share and spread as much as I can, as much as I'm aware of, and because I know it goes a long way, and that's maybe what people kind of fail to realize as just a normal listener, how much of a help that could be to a band. And it's not just a band, like a show like Unmuted, your show that you're doing now, anything that somebody locally is trying to do and trying to progress in, sharing that work makes a huge difference. And if you really want to support, don't fuck the merchandise. Don't buy merchandise. Don't buy CDs. Share it with as many people as you can, because spreading the word makes a lot more of a difference than you think it would. That's like if there's a message, that would be it.
Okay. Yeah. So that's an indirect way of supporting, but the effect of it will build up more audience, a wider
Insane.
audience, a bigger audience, and that itself is an indirect payback to the band, right? Brings more audience in, that brings more audience to the concert, that brings more whatever, buyers of the t-shirts later
when
on.
you get more audience coming in, right?
Yeah.
That means the promoter can get a bigger band next time.
Yeah.
When you get more audience coming in, that means the promoter can get you a bigger venue, the venue that you keep complaining about. Oh, why don't they change the venue? Well, come to the gigs. so they can actually change the venue. You know what I mean? It's all those small details that make a huge difference down the line that people don't really realize the importance of. And yeah, go to the gigs, share the music, get people to know about the bands that you like, because the more people do, the more demand there will be on that band, the more the promoter will actually invest in that band, and the bigger the events would become, and it just snowballs.
Yeah,
it's all connected 100%. So that small share goes a long way.
I agree. So we will be actually cutting this long talk into some segments that we'll share later on specific subjects. One band I love to promote that we talked about, for example, today is Mansfield. I enjoyed their music. I want to share it. When the World Burns, I enjoyed the music. I'd like to also share it separately. Kaetion, I've mentioned the band. I would like to share that. Of course, we've talked a lot about Svengali and Damage Rite, so these will all be shared. And whenever something is new comes up from any of those bands, we always are here to promote that, to share it, to spread it.
That's good, man.
But we don't do it forcefully. Like, just you don't have to. Just check it out. You like it.
Exactly. You don't have to just put it out there, you know?
Yeah. After this conversation, maybe I haven't mentioned this in previous episodes till now. One goal we have behind these conversations is to go back through history, is to go back to the old days, is to follow the evolution of things, and also to see the story of each band. How does it evolve? What difficulties it goes through? What's good and bad, ups and downs and all that. We talk a lot about the learning process, like getting your own instrument, learning that instrument. Now we talked about recording, learning how to do all that. And if you get good at it, you want to teach other, just like somebody taught you, right? You said you went to different studios, you learned a lot. So it's a sharing experience. And we've been following on the scene at least since 2009 when we started. And whatever we're doing now, we intend to keep doing. Maybe in another 10 years, we're going to talk to you and say, album number 12 by Svengali. How did that go? You know,
Blues. 10 years.
Let's see how that goes. For us to close this, I have one last question or one last kind of request. What would you say to the band starting now, maybe learning the instrument and trying to record their stuff, as a final kind of advice for people like working on their first single or EP or album?
First of all, it's not a competition.
Okay.
You just the only person you're competing with is yourself. Like, there's always going to be somebody who's better. There's always going to be somebody who's faster. There's always going to be like, that's a given. So it's not a competition. Just learn your instrument. Enjoy doing what you do. If it's not fun, then there's a problem. And yeah, man, it's not gonna be easy. Put in the time. Like, know that it's not gonna come easy. Put in the time. There's the 10,000 hour rule. I don't know if you've heard of it.
Yeah,
but,
I know it.
You know, in order to get really good at something, you have to spend 10,000 hours doing it, and spend that. Enjoy the process. There's nothing wrong with spending 10,000 hours doing one thing.
If you enjoy it, it's not that difficult. Right?
No, enjoy it. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be bad. You're gonna see ups and downs. You're gonna get to phases where you're gonna see a huge progress happen in a very short period of time, and then you're gonna feel that you just like completely came to a full stop, and then it's just ups and down, and that's the beauty of it. Like, learn how to enjoy it, embrace it, and just have fun with it. That's the main thing, man. If it's have fun, it's fun.
Yeah, it's supposed to be a fun adventure, as you describe it. It's a fun adventure. We've reached the end of our long conversation. I'm gonna end this live by playing the final track, "When the World Burns," and
Walid.
With Walid on vocals. And hopefully, thank you very much for being part of this, GM. And
thank you, man. It was a pleasure.
Hope to talk to you in another episode on the next release. And thank you for everyone who's listening. We're gonna close this live by playing the last track.
All right.